hopefully, because I'm making pretty good progress with ChatGPT. It's a run day. I have to do my 2 mile run today before midnight. I finally reached a place where my runs are interfering with my day-to-day activities. I started running every 2 miles to resynchronize myself with what I want to do instead of being in compliance with a system that is not interested in helping me be the person that I want to be. So I streamed a couple weeks ago with regards to Full Sail, and I'll just show you. I have to do this twice because I'm also streaming on YouTube as well as Facebook. So Mike just on YouTube is my actual channel. If you want to join or whatever, I'm gonna wind up spending more time there than here. Let me see. I don't have my mouse. It's right back. So I want to show you next. Here for now. This is just my computer. So I want to show you guys this around. This is my Full Sail account, right? If I go back into the past, this is the final grade that I had for the entire 4 weeks. The entire 4 weeks is what the grades look like. So if I go to content, you see these are my total grades. And you see a 96.2 here. So I got a 0, 0, a 0, 100, and then I got a 0 for the lab, and then 28, 16, 20, and then I didn't even do the 4th week. I just didn't do it. What's the point? If you're gonna give me zeros, what is the point of you even doing the lab, right? So I will give me 1 second to show all this information to YouTube. So this is the same information. So 21, this stuff here, 0, and then here, the 0. So on here, the instructor said, upon reviewing, he said, upon reviewing the lab, right? There's no easy way to do this because I have 2 phones. So he says, upon reviewing this lab, it was found all portions of the code was generated by AI. This falls under the plagiarism umbrella detailed in point 5 academic integrity activities and will result in a 0 on this assignment as well as a 0 for professionalism. Documentation will be sent to student conduct and they will be sending out an email to you if you would like to set up a meeting to discuss or dispute the findings. Please do not contact me directly on this matter. All discussion needs to take place through the proper channels, and we will be handled during the meeting if requested. So I'm showing you this because this is the week that I'm in now. There's a week I'm in now, the class I'm taking now, which is basic English. This is the current grade that I have. It's the current grade that I have for English. 28.33. First week of class, my grade is a 28.33. My overall grade. Now, what's relevant about this is You know what? YouTube is going to keep the video. Facebook is not. So what's the point in doing both? Facebook's just going to delete it anyway. So what's relevant of this is this. I want to show. Let's go to content. So I got a 85 for getting started. I got 100 for student guides to AI. Right, all of this stuff. All of this stuff. The first week, the API, GUI, and then for week one, I received a 0. I got 100 for the introduction and then a 0, right? Now, what I want you to understand is that this 28.33, my best grade is a 78.5, and my actual grade is an 8.5. What I want you to understand is I didn't do anything for week one. I did absolutely, I want you to understand that I did absolutely nothing for this week. Only thing I did for this week was I contacted the teacher. I said, I think it's here. Is it this one? No, it's not this one. It's probably, I don't know which one it is. I'll just do it this way. This will be faster. It must have been the introduction. Introduction week one. Yeah. So this is what I did. I dropped my story, and this is her response. Hi, thank you for sharing your novel. That's impressive that you wrote such a detailed story at 22. I don't have time to read through the whole story. 25,000 words is not a small feat at this moment, but it looks like a fantasy sci-fi blend, so it's definitely up my alley. I love that you choose to attend Full Sail because the idea of being a dreamer resonates with you. We were founded on the belief that a dream combined with dedication, perseverance, and the ability to work hard for what you are passionate about is the true foundation of success. I hope you I hope you reconsider your decision about efforts and involvement in your course, since a dream without effort can only be that. I'll be here to support and help you in any way possible. What I said to her was this: the attached file is my story I wrote when I was 22 years old. I decided to attend Full Sail because I resonate with the idea of being a dreamer. What I have decided for myself, for my future on this planet, I won't be giving any effort to this course or any future courses or any future courses in the future. Thank you. The VA will ask me if I attend a class. I will mark yes. What you have done, well, you don't have to understand anything. What I'm doing is I'm trying to, being born in the 80s in America, society taught us certain values. It taught us that we were the dreamer generation. We lived before the internet, we lived before computers were really a household item. We lived before cameras were cheap enough that anyone could have one and afford one. We lived during a time when you had to get your photos developed at a um, pharmacy because photos required chemicals to develop, and pharmaceutical companies, well, not pharmaceutical companies, chemicals were controlled. And since the local drugstore already was controlling hazardous, toxic, habit forming narcotics, they were also licensed to be able to control the kind of chemicals that were necessary to develop pictures, right? So you would have to go to your local pharmacy to develop photos. One of the main reasons why the pharmacies went out of business and people don't think about it is because once we started having digital technology that we could use to develop our photos, and we started having the capacity to just print photos on paper at resolutions compatible to what you could get at the local drugstore, there was no need for that anymore. So living in that world, we were taught like you have to go out and get it. You got to go do what you're trying to do. Being African American in that world and growing up in American society, wanting to do the things that are normal, like It's normal for people to play video games, and it's normal for people to read anime, and it's normal for people to know who Goku is, and it's normal for kids to go online and play games, and it wasn't normal for me. When I was a kid, there it wasn't. I was the one person that was doing the things. I was the guy that was playing video games. I was the guy that was watching Dragon Ball Z. I was the person that was collecting Warhammer and Magic the Gathering cards before Pokemon was a thing. I was the person that was going to Games Workshop and trying to build armies and stuff, and I couldn't afford it. And so I was outside of the very thing that everyone's taking for granted in the present is the thing that I used to want to do as a child. It was a thing that I had wanted to do in high school. I wanted to have friends that I could hang out with and be nerdy about. Like, I would have loved to have been able to cosplay as my favorite anime characters and just be this super epic nerd. But that wasn't the legacy for me. I grew up in isolation. I grew up alone. There was no one else. It was just me. Just hours and hours and hours by myself, just watching, binge watching anime and loving life. But I was doing it by myself. So I tried to keep up with society being poor, not not wanting. It wasn't that I didn't want to do it or I couldn't do it. I just didn't have the finances for it. And I lived in a family that didn't have an investment in it. My parents didn't see the value in the things that I was doing. It's everywhere now, but they didn't see the value. Which would How are you gonna make a living playing with Legos? You're 17 playing with Legos. How are you gonna make a living? I'm 17. Why do I need to worry about making a living? Like, and there was never a desire to help me grow into the person that I wanted to grow into. It was always, you're a young black guy that plays with toys and watches cartoons and wants to play video games all day, and you don't seem to have any desire to do anything with your life. So we're not going to invest any energy into you, and we're just going to wait for you to die. That's literally the way I lived my whole life. That's pretty much my whole story. And when I turned 22, I wasn't like, you know what I want to do? I want to be a fentanyl addict. I want to be a convicted felon with multiple felonies, and I want to be in and out of the prison. I want to be homeless. I want to run around and beat people up and rob and murder and abuse women. I wasn't trying to do none of that stuff. I was just trying to survive in this world. I wanted to be a husband and a father. That was the focus that I had on the type of person that I wanted to be. And I didn't know how to do none of that stuff, but that's what I wanted to do. That was my goal. You know what I got? Nothing. Society doesn't care about what you want. So I wound up having a child. My daughter's mother put me on child support. She made sure I could never see my daughter so she could get access to child support. And I made an effort without any guidance, and I wound up enlisting to the military for 6 years. And I only enlisted to take care of my child. So I have the VA loan. So when I got out of the military, I'm like, you know what would be a good idea? I could just go to Full Sail, and then I could learn how to be a video game developer so that I can design my own video games. Because nothing in my life has proven me that I will never be accepted in society. There will never be a place for Paul Emerson. Nobody will ever accept anything about what I'm trying to do because they want me to be a stereotype. I want you to understand something. There is no benefit in society for me to be a black man. Absolutely no benefit. There's no benefit for it. What is the benefit of identifying as a black man? What do I gain personally from that? What is the goal at the end of being a black man? What do I achieve? How does it enrich or enhance or better my life? What does being a black man contribute to the world? Nothing. Not a goddamn thing. It contributes absolutely nothing. Same thing with being white. It contributes absolutely nothing to society. These values are only designed to keep us isolated and separated so that the person that's in a position of authority can be there without having to justify their position of authority, right? That's the only reason that these things exist, so that the perpetuation of the bullshit that we live with every day continues unchecked and unchallenged and unrivaled. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else. If you have a better justification or better reasoning other than because of God and because black people are inferior, if you don't have a better justification than that, there's no reason for it. It's absolutely no reason for it. So that's not I want to be Paul Emerson. I want to
be a scientist that operates from objective truth and moves to the world and is designing video games and producing comics to make money for myself. I want to earn an honest living for me to be able to be a functional member of a functional society. It's a very simple thing. It's not hard. It's a very simple thing. But the whole world is like, we need you to be the monster so that we can operate under our potential and be just as miserable as you, but at least we can tell you that you're the problem. I would love for racism to work, to actually work. It would be amazing if being fucking white in this world made the world better, but it's not making anything better. There's no advantage to a system of oppression that both sides are fucking oppressed. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. What is my side? What is a sacrifice for? What are we murdering African Americans in the streets of America for? How is society as a whole benefiting from it? If you can show me how we're benefiting from it, then we'll take the L's. But the reality is that there's no fucking benefit in the way the world is structured. The whole world is just destroying itself for the sake of destroying itself. For what? For what at the end of the day? For what? For what? So I went on a tangent. Let me get back to Full Sail. I sit here and I do the work and I use ChatGPT to learn so that I can get over the curve of all of the bullshit that they throw in front of me. And you know what they do? They give me a fucking zero. But after 1 week of class doing absolutely no work, my grade is a 20 fucking 2. I did zero work and got a higher grade from this college than when I did the work and turned in the assignments. I want you to think about that for a second. How do you do zero fucking work and score and get a grade higher than fucking zero? But when you do all of the assignments and you turn in the grades and you complete the assignments as expected of you, you get a fucking zero. This has been my entire fucking life. My entire life, every day since I was born, has been you need to stop being a competent person and just obey the rules so we can force you to do things that we're telling you not to do and hold you accountable for your actions so that we can punish you for no fucking reason other than to feel like we are better than you. My whole fucking life, the 43 years that I've been on this planet, being a competent human being, has been constantly infringed upon by the idea that because of my hair texture and my skin color, I am not fit to do the things that I'm doing. So I have to be a liar and a cheater. And I need to be punished for trying to be something that I'm not, which is a good person. There's no such thing as a good person that has dark skin and nappy hair. So you're faking it. You're lying. You're scheming because you want me to accept the fact that you're a decent human being. Like this is the reality that I've been living with for my entire life. Everywhere I go, every time I show up, someone has to get me to understand how I'm not qualified, how I'm stupid, how I'm dumb. I stand next to people and I engage in the same pattern of behavior that they do at the same level of competency for being a human being, making the same level of mistakes that every other human being makes as a human fucking being in opposition to being conditioned to be a failure. Only to what? Only to what? Like you want me to be a failure, but you're not gonna compensate me for wanting me to be a failure. You want me to show up to your work and be a monster to everybody and have everybody screaming and sad and worried about the black guy, but you're not paying me any extra money for that shit. You're not paying me extra money for that bullshit. So what is the goal? What is the point? This is what I realized, and this is the main reason why I'm writing with this video. I realized that the government is giving me money to attend school, right? On the other side of the government giving me money to attend school, the school has an obligation to educate me. right? But the obligation that the school has to give me an education is not backed by anything. They don't have to do shit. They don't have to give me any fucking. If I go to McDonald's and say, hey, I want a double cheeseburger, McDonald's is obligated to give me a double cheeseburger. If I don't like the quality of the double cheeseburger that I receive from McDonald's, I can complain. I can say, I don't like the quality of this sandwich. I need you to remake it or give me a refund, right? If McDonald's refuses to do those things as a citizen, I can call the police and the police will force them to comply with either giving me a better sandwich to my satisfaction as a consumer in this country, or they will have to give me a refund. The only institution in this entire world, the one that is the most important to us, that does not have to give us the service that they are providing while simultaneously still being able to receive payment for not giving us the fucking service that they are providing is the educational system. And that should tell you everything you need to know about the world that you live in. That the most important thing to your life has been told to you and sold to you, that school is essential to the quality of your life. And the only thing that we pay for that we cannot get a refund for and the service is not guaranteed is education and learning. No one has to give you an education, and nobody is responsible or accountable for you learning. And in that dynamic, they can teach you the wrong fucking shit and then get compensated for it. They can teach you the wrong thing and get compensated for it. And how would you know? Because you go into the school system ignorant and you assume that they're going to give you a curriculum that's going to work for you. But that's not what society is doing. That is not what society is doing. That has never been what society has done. That's why the universal constant of my 2 cents, no matter how much it evolves and change, has always been self-improvement through self-education. It has always been self-improvement through self-education. The story that I gave to the teacher that I wrote when I was 22, when I was writing that story and I was flipping through dictionaries and I was using thesaurus, I said to myself, and I had this conversation with my cousin while I was staying with him. I said, I think that I need to learn how to spell. I don't think my spelling is as strong as it needs to be. And I don't understand why I can read, but the words that I'm spelling don't seem to match the ones in the dictionary. And my cousin at the time said, well, why would you invest energy into learning how to spell? And I said, I don't know. I just get this feeling like that's something that I should be doing as a writer. Not that's a good idea. I see the wisdom in that. Or even better, yeah, your fucking spelling sucks. You can't spell for shit. You know how many years? I want you to understand. I graduated high school with a fourth grade spelling level. I figured that shit out when I went to college. I went through my transcript and I read my academic levels, and I graduated at the age of 17 with a fourth grade spelling level. My comprehension was 11th grade at the age of 17, but my spelling level was fourth grade, and I thought it was strange that I couldn't spell. But I never thought anything further of it because I'm a young person. I wasn't thinking about it. The more I started writing, the more I started reading, the more I started making an effort to actually improve my spelling, the more I started to realize I was never given a foundation in academic spelling. And this isn't me making excuses. It's the reality of I went through school for 18 years mandatory, but they didn't give me the most important thing that I needed, which is the ability to communicate on paper. I was never given that. So I spent the time necessary to develop my own education because I knew that I wasn't as intelligent as I needed to be. It was obvious that there were always more things that I could learn, but in the foundation of not being able to spell was never addressed, right? So I always knew that the school system was shitty. Like there's no like how did I get all the way through high school and not know how to spell basic words? How did I get jobs and function in society without being able to spell. And then I realized because everybody thinks you're stupid. You're a black person. Everybody thinks you're dumb. Nobody expects you to be able to be competent. The world doesn't need you to be competent. The world needs you to be obedient. That's the reason why I got a 22 for doing no fucking work, but I got zeros for turning assignments that were 100% complete, because there is no such thing as 100 fucking percent. The goal is for you to try to get 100, not to actually get 100. That's the goal. We want you to try to get 100, not actually get 100. Now, while all this ranting and raving, there is something that I've been wanting to do. And the thing that I have been wanting to do is I've been wanting to build a video game. And there's a very specific game that I've been trying to build. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the introduction level of this game. Because one of the things about ChatGPT that a lot of people don't understand or don't want to recognize when it comes to the level of this actual software and what it's actually bringing to the table is how effective it is. I took this one out of here, so I need this one. Is how effective it actually is at doing a thing that it's supposed to do. I think this is the right one. No, this is definitely not the right one. Oh, I did it wrong. Here and then here. I'm gonna make sure it's working and then I'm gonna show you. I can't see the button presses. Okay, so this is my pet project, Ebony Fighters, and you can see Facebook right there. If you notice, it's very subtle, but there's something very important about this fighting game. The characters are in a constant state of motion, right? This is just understanding how to prompt ChatGPT, understanding how to. This is the flying, and if you notice with the flying, the character gets smaller because the actual artwork, everything has all been done with ChatGPT 100%. The characters, if you notice at the top, the characters are actually taking damage. There's a KO status. The character, the AI won. One of the things that I did was I went to, can't see. Move. You can go over there. If you want to see this stuff, you're just going to have to leave Facebook. I don't have the capacity to keep flipping through multiple videos. This should do version 5. I think this one's stable. This is pretty much what happened. This game, right? This game is when I was in school for Full Sail when I figured out how to get this working properly. And if you notice, the ball has energy. It gets faster and faster. But yeah, I'm putting together a tutorial right now on how to actually build this game. But I decided that there were other things that I needed to try to figure out. I want you to understand that the school is giving me a 0 because, you're just cheating. You're just using ChatGPT because you're not smart enough to do the things that you want to do. You're too stupid to do what you want. So you're just going to rely on AI to do everything for you. Well, my goal is to design a video game. If your goal is to do something and you're doing the thing that you're trying to do,
That's not evidence of not being competent. That's very the most important thing that you have to understand about life, and this is the reason why I run every 3 days, because I get tired of people trying to get me to understand that the problem in my life is my inability to do the things that I want. These talking points and these stereotypical values that everyone just accepts without proof are stagnating the world. Obedience is the most important thing that we can have, with the security that the people that we are obeying are not trying to fuck us over, right? If you're being obedient and the person that you are in a relationship with is not malicious and conniving and deceitful and disrespectful and not trying to hurt you, you will be successful. If you're being obedient to somebody that don't want you to be successful, then they're wasting your life. That's the part that the average person doesn't want to understand, because the vast majority of people in this world believes that Christianity gives Jesus and God the authority to make you prosperous. And instead of understanding that you're doing things as benefiting somebody else at your own shortcoming, we just say stupid shit like God has a plan, God works in mysterious ways, everything happens for a reason. If you want a cup of fucking water, all you have to do is get up, and if you live in a first world country, go to this kitchen and turn the water on, fill the cup up, and turn the water off. Like, that's it. If you're thirsty, literally thirsty, and you want something to drink, all you have to do is put effort toward obtaining something to drink. But society got us jumping through all these fucking hoops and bending over backwards and doing all this dumb shit so that we can generate profit for them for nothing. For nothing. I'm trying to be very clear that the biggest problem in the world is not the effort that we put forth. Putting forth effort, being an active member of society, going to work, contributing to society, you spending your dollars in your neighborhood so that your neighborhood can prosper. All that stuff is valid. Being a father, having to sacrifice as a parent to take care of your children, having to get up and go to work jobs that you don't want to work, and all that stuff is relevant. The problem is that none of it is necessary. None of it is fucking necessary. And that's where the line in 2026 has to be really drawn, and people really have to reflect on why are we in that? Why? I don't really want to make this political, but I'm going to say this in the context of me getting this fucking 22% for doing absolutely no work while also simultaneously getting a zero for putting forth effort. Why did the United States pull out of Iraq, retreat, and pull out of Iraq and move all of our forces back to the United States and call the war over and say all of the conflict is done after being over there for more than 6 decades, only to just go back to fight the same fucking war that we've been fighting for the last 30 fucking years against an enemy that by all definition of American society is inferior to us. We've been getting our asses kicked by people with sticks and fucking stones for the last 60 fucking years with the most advanced military on the fucking planet. Only so that we can keep oil prices down. But here's the thing that the average person forgets. The money is controlled by the fucking governments. So if the United States would just negotiate instead of having these people having to live in an impoverished environment so that a bunch of white elitists can look over at Afghanistan and feel good about themselves over here in America, we wouldn't have the problems that we have. There is no need for it. There's no fucking need for it. Like, we started moving toward an electrical revolution, but you don't want to change from gas to electricity because of the oil industry. Why, what is the point? I'm not even gonna say who fucking cares. Like, what is the point? What is the goal? You would still use natural gas to produce electricity to power the cars. You would just decentralize the dependency on gas and make the process of driving vehicles cheaper and more affordable. That's the conflict. We don't want things to be cheaper and more affordable.
We want things to be excessively expensive so that people can suffer, so that we, the elites that have infinite resources, can feel superior. But what is the goal? What is the point? What is like at the end of the day, what is the point? And I'm going to close this video. I'm going to close this rant by saying this. What I have decided when it comes to Full Sail University, and you have seen the video game that I'm in the process of developing, what I have decided is that I'm going to collect the $1,000 that the government gives me every month for attending school, and I will not give them any further energy. I will collect my zeros at the end of the month, and I will let the school, when the government asks me if I attend a class, I will click yes, and I will get my zeros. And then one day I won't have enough money to go to school, and on a day that I no longer have enough money to go to school, I will go get a second job. But the time that I have from the money that I will get from the government, instead of trying to get a degree, I will try to use that time to build the games that I'm trying to build. Because the games that I want to build, I can build them using ChatGPT. I have spent my whole life trying to network, work with people, build relationships, build friends, get people to have a shared vision with me. I've done all that shit. It has gotten me nowhere because I refuse to be the black guy. I don't want to be the black guy. I don't want to be the rapist. I don't want to be the pedophile. I don't want to be the drug addict, the drug dealer. I don't want to be the armed criminal. I don't want to be the school shooter. I don't want to be any of the negative stereotypical things. I don't want to be late for work. I don't want to be the asshole that's disrespecting people every day. I don't want to be any of those things. I don't want to be a loser. I don't want to be a failure. I don't care that people keep trying to get me to understand that that is the role that I have to fill so that I can be in compliance with Christianity. I don't fucking care because I'm not a Christian. I don't care about your need for me to comply with systems that don't benefit me in the world. I don't fucking care. I will not consent to the bullshit. I will not show up and be less than I am for people that don't have any fucking vision. And I'm not going to indirectly engage in a bullshit fucking system, in a bullshit ass society, in a bullshit ass world, surrounded by a bunch of fake ass, bullshit ass people for no fucking reason. Make it make fucking sense. I'm all about making an effort, like Spock said, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or even the one. I'm all about that philosophy, and I'm all about that principle. But what the fuck are you guys sacrificing me for? What are you You're not sacrificing us for anything. These politicians aren't doing shit except for being indirect about life. Nothing. They're not doing any fucking thing. There is nothing happening. Nothing. I could understand. I don't like racism, but I could understand wanting to prosper at the expense of another group. But Caucasians have they've lost the fucking plot. You're not supposed to be poor white trash so that elite whites can look down on you. You're supposed to have the resources to climb up to be the elite. And you're supposed to gatekeep the possibility of climbing up to be the elite. But y'all forgot how this shit works. There has to be a ladder. There has to actually exist a fucking ladder. Now you got a bunch of poor ass white men standing around being told that the ladder exists somewhere. You just have to find it. And they're like, well, at least we're not black. All we got to do is find out where the ladder is so that we can climb and then we'll be good. And all of the African Americans are standing around like, bro, they destroyed the ladder. Then you see them, they're dismantling the ladder. You see that? That's the ladder that they're taking down right there. The same ladder that they're telling you that I shouldn't be using to climb is the same ladder that you're supposed to have to climb. And you're letting them dismantle the only fucking ladder that we need to climb. Just so that you can say that at least you're not black. And that's the foundation of what's happening. The world, the whole structure of society is being eroded away and destroyed for no fucking reason. There is no reasoning behind the things that are happening. There is no justification behind the things that are happening. There is no prosperity behind the things that we see happening. Because the average person doesn't, as long as they're going to be compliant and get their crumbs and be sad that their crumbs are getting smaller and smaller every year, well, at least I got my crumb. I got my crumb this year. I got my crumb today. I got my little check. I know gas is high, but God's gonna make a way for me. I don't have any time for any of that energy anymore. So instead of ranting for another 20 minutes, as always, my name is Paul Emerson, and I've given you my 2 cents.